Why is modern art so bad? And it's a picture of Mona Lisa and paint splotches. I don't know. Let's take a look. This is an older one. It's 8 years ago.
The Mona Lisa, the Pietà, the girl with a pearl earring.
Yes.
For a score of centuries, artists enriched Western society with their works of astonishing beauty. The Night Watch, the Thinker, the Rocky Mountains. Master after master, from Leonardo to Rembrandt to Bierstadt, produced works that inspired, uplifted, and deepened us. And they did this by demanding of themselves the highest standards of excellence.
Okay, can we be honest here really quick? Those are some nice paintings, but do you feel inspired and uplifted by them?
Improving upon the work of each previous generation of masters and continuing to aspire to the highest quality attainable. But something happened on the way to the 20th century.
So he's doing some hardcore selection bias here.
The Mona Lisa, the Pietà, the girl with a pearl earring.
These are the ones that are famous now and have survived, but how many other paintings have existed? And he uses the Thinker and the Rocky Mountains. To be fair, the Rocky Mountains is quite impressive. How many other paintings and sculptures existed, back in the days that sucked and got thrown out or didn't survive to the modern day and nobody really liked them even back then, so no one took care of them? That's like the majority of paintings. These artists still had to practice to get to the point where the art was good. If you Google cats in old paintings, oh yeah, there's some bad stuff out there. Now this one is like a modern Photoshop, which is pretty cool. Now I'm also engaging in selection bias here. This is still a counterexample to what he was arguing.
But something happened on the way to the 20th century. The profound, the inspiring, and the beautiful were replaced by the new, the different, and the ugly. Today, the silly, the pointless, and the purely offensive are held up as the best of modern art.
Okay, I don't think so, because there are a lot of people who talk about modern art being stupid. I think the only thing that's different in the modern world today is the invention of mass communication. Nowadays, anyone, we have our phones, and within seconds, we can post whatever we want on the internet and potentially share it with the entire world. Back in the day, in the days of Rembrandt and painting the Mona Lisa and the girl with the pearl earring, you couldn't really easily share this with millions of people worldwide. If you were bad at what you did, no one would pay you to make art. Buying paint back in the day was expensive as shit. So, also, yay, age of industrialization, yay. Easy to make paint and sculpture stuff in factories. Back in the day, it was expensive and quite a significant investment to even start making the stuff, to even start practicing to make the stuff, let alone practicing long enough to get good at it.
Michelangelo carved his David out of a rock. The Los Angeles County Museum of Art just offers us a rock. A rock. All 340 tons of it. That's how far standards have fallen.
All right. Hold on. I know the name of this one. It's called a levitated mass. It is a rock, but it's a rock you can walk underneath. To be fair, it's a very big rock. And also, people will pay hundreds to thousands of dollars for rocks in their landscaping, hire professionals to bring rocks to their businesses and their yards. There's not much to it, I admit, but I wouldn't exactly say this is nothing. I haven't actually been there in person, but I would imagine there's almost a sense of impending doom when it's overhead and you're right underneath it. There's a little more to it than it just being a rock.
How did this happen? How did the 1,000-year ascent towards artistic perfection and excellence die out? It didn't. It was pushed out. Beginning in the late 19th century.
This reminds me of something else. Hold on. Y'all are familiar with the city of Pompeii? The city of Pompeii was a city in the Roman Empire that was nearby a volcano. The volcano erupted and the entire city was covered in ash and everyone in there basically fucking died. Good news about this, most of the city was actually perfectly preserved under all the volcanic ash, including a bunch of graffiti. I hope I don't see anything too bad here. This is a guy's fucking face. Kilroy was here. Anyway, some of this stuff is, oh, whoop. Hold on there. I almost showed that on stream. There is a graphic depiction here of a man. No, I'm sorry. 2 men and a woman. The woman is positioned in what is known as doggy style. One man is behind her, and the second man is right behind the first man. And they are engaging in a sexual act. And this was on the walls of Pompeii. And this is another picture of a man engaging in cunnilingus on a woman. This is a painting of a woman on top of a man. Another thing here, this is graffiti, which are words. So, weep, you girls, my penis has given you up. Now it penetrates men's behinds. Goodbye, wondrous femininity. I screwed the barmaid. Theophilus, don't perform oral sex on girls against the city wall like a dog. Watch it, you that shits in this place. May you have Jove's anger if you ignore this. Okay, I think we've got enough of this. You're correct. Humans never change. Humans are the same 2,000 years ago as they are today. I find that so... that warms my heart so much.
Century, a group dubbed the Impressionists rebelled against the French Academy des Beaux-Arts and its demand for classical standards. Whatever their intentions, the new modernists...
Okay, considering some of that stuff we just went over, do we even give a shit about any of this? This is just an asinine What the fuck are you talking about?
...sowed the seeds of aesthetic relativism, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder mentality. Today, everybody loves the Impressionists. And as with most revolutions, the first generation or so produced work of genuine merit. Monet, Renoir, and Degas still maintained elements of disciplined design and execution. But with each new
How do you determine what art has merit? You didn't explain that.
generation,
Oh, this is a good
standards declined
A standard PragerU graph. Let's see it.
until there were no standards.
Decline of artistic standards. How is standards quantified? How can you put that into a number and put that on a graph? I would like an answer to that.
All that was left was personal expression.
Wait, what? All that was left is personal expression?
Historian Jacob Rosenberg wrote that quality in art is not merely a matter of personal opinion, but to a high degree objectively traceable. But the idea of a universal standard of quality in art is now usually met with strong resistance, if not open ridicule.
Yes, actually. Universal standard of quality? Can you imagine going back to, like, the ancient Romans and telling them that? Yo, your art sucks.
How can art be objectively measured? I'm challenged.
That's what I just said.
In responding, I simply point to the artistic results produced by universal standards compared to what is produced by relativism.
How do you quantify either one of them? A lot of art, you know, it might kind of fit in some kind of, I guess, what do you want to call it? Genre or whatever. But a lot of art kind of transcends the boundaries anyway. Something you may call postmodernism is not, or postmodern art is not, it's not always postmodern. It's just kind of a generality. Generality. Ha!
The former gave the world the birth of Venus and the dying Gaul,
Titties!
while the latter has given us the Holy Virgin Mary, fashioned with cow dung and pornographic images,
Yeah!
and Petra, the prize-winning sculpture of a policewoman squatting and urinating, complete with a puddle of synthetic urine.
I haven't heard of that one. We also just went over some of the ancient Roman art that also had pornographic material and scat. So this has been a thing even back then. But once again, selection bias. You know, if you conveniently want to just ignore all that old stuff, a lot of that stuff didn't really survive and never became super popular, but it still existed back in the day. Also, he didn't address this, but on the text here, it says the media, or I guess medium would be more appropriate. Tempera on canvas, marble, Media: oil, glitter, resin, cow dung, pornographic images, silicon and metal, synthetic urine. Well, this doesn't have anything to do with the argument you're making, though. You can make art out of anything. I saw a really good thing, a really good piece of art someone made out of compost. Yeah, here it is. Someone just made a sculpture and it's steaming out of compost. It's got a face. I love it. Compost is like quite literally like junk and trash and shit.
Standards, we have no way to determine quality or inferiority.
I believe it was Roger Ebert, the film reviewer. He said the best way to judge a movie, not by what you think of it or not by any particular set of standards, judge the movie or any kind of art for that matter by what it is trying to be. Now, sometimes with art that can be kind of difficult to determine. Sometimes when you look at some art pieces, you're like, I don't know what the artist was thinking here, and that can be difficult. That requires a bit of brain power to try to suss out. But I think that's probably one of the best explanations for determining quality of art. I don't know if this PragerU speaker has the brain power to do that.
Here's a test I give my graduate students, all talented and well-educated. Please analyze this Jackson Pollock painting and explain why it is good.
You could argue no Jackson Pollock painting is good.
Only after they give very eloquent answers that I inform them that the painting is actually a close-up of my studio apron.
Now, that's a nice twist. However, this is also art, is it not? And the entire process of you fooling them and thinking it was a Jackson Pollock painting is also art. And by doing this process, you have got your students thinking about what is art. And I'd argue that that in and of itself is also a form of art, of which you were quite successful.
I don't blame them. I would probably have done the same, since it's nearly impossible to differentiate between the two. And who will determine quality is another challenge I'm given. If we are to be intellectually honest, we all know of situations where professional expertise...
Oh, he doesn't actually address the apron anymore. That's disappointing. You see this? I would grind this camo in Call of Duty. Good job, you made some good art.
Challenge I'm given. If we are to be intellectually honest, we all know of situations where professional expertise is acknowledged and depended upon. Take figure skating in the Olympics, where artistic excellence is judged by experts in the field.
Well, this arguably isn't the same kind of art, because figure skating, you are directly competing against other people. And there is a set amount of criteria you are competing for. And a lot of art, it's not about competing, it's just about creative expression or a depiction of something.
Surely we would flinch at the contestant who indiscriminately threw himself across the ice and demanded that his routine be accepted as being as worthy of value as that of the most disciplined skater.
Well, yeah, in a competition, we would. If we had an art competition where you had to paint a sunflower and you instead paint a giant penis, you failed the assignment. But if you just did that on your own, congratulations. You might have a successful career as a hentai artist.
Not only has the quality of art diminished, but also the subject matter has gone from the transcendent to the trashy.
Oh.
Where once artists applied their talents to scenes of substance...
We already know that's bullshit because of the Roman stuff, but let's hear him out, yeah?
Where once artists applied their talents to scenes of substance and integrity from history, literature, religion, mythology, etc. Many of today's artists merely use their art to make statements, often for nothing more than shock value.
I got a good one for you. You may have heard of this one. Old painting by Francisco Goya. It's called Saturn Devouring His Son. Gore warning. In Greek mythology, Saturn was one of the Titans, and the Greek gods overthrew the Titans, right? The Greek gods were all born, a lot of them were born of the Titans. There was a prophecy that one of Saturn's sons was going to lead the revolt. So Saturn, hated this prophecy. So, in a preemptive strike, he ate his son. Yes, this is what he did. And this is the art depicting this. Now, also in mythology, the real son was Zeus, and Zeus was hidden away from Saturn. Saturn didn't know about Zeus. Zeus eventually led the other gods, and they overthrew the Titans. This poor guy did not make it. I love it. But look at this. This is kind of shocking, but also it has stemmed from mythology, history,
mythology,
literature,
etc.
religion. This painting has stemmed from literally everything this guy just explained. But it's also made to be shocking. I love it.
Artists of the past also made statements at times, but never at the expense of the visual excellence of their work.
Again, that's also like subjective. With the invention of modern media, especially the internet, anyone can get their shit out there. The game isn't about making good art. The game is about advertising and self-promotion now. I will admit, is a complete bullshit thing we have to live with. But that's what we have.
Only artists who are at fault. It is equally the fault of the so-called art community, the museum heads, gallery owners, and the critics who encourage and financially enable the production of this rubbish. It is they who champion graffiti and call it genius.
Hey, wait a second!
Promote the scatological and call it meaningful. It is they who, in reality,
we just went over all of that with Rome,
are the naked emperors of art. For who else would spend $10 million on a rock and think it is art?
I mean, who would spend $75,000 on landscaping? Yeah, a lot of people. Well, 75 is pretty steep.
But why do we have to be victims of all this bad taste? We don't. By the art we patronize at museums or purchase at galleries, we can make our opinion.
Look at this guy purchasing art at galleries? What the fuck planet do you live on?
Not only known, but felt. An art gallery, after all, is a business like any other. If the product doesn't sell, it won't be made. We can also...
Yeah, oh, hold on. When I go to like a gallery, I'm not buying art. I'm paying an admission fee to the gallery. And you know what? I want to see the weird shit. Hell yeah. The painting of the girl in the pearl earring. Okay, it looks nice. I don't care. Now in the modern world, in the modern day, do you know how many paintings like that look kind of like this I can see? I can Google them and pull up a million pictures that look just like this. But you know how many weird things I can see? Quite a lot when I go to my local Walmart. But I want the weird art. I love the weird art because the weird art sticks out and looks different from the rest of them. I want to see the fucking cat faces.
By the art we patronize at museums or purchase at galleries, we can make our opinions not only known but felt. An art gallery, after all, is a business like any other. If the product doesn't sell, it won't be made.
Okay, quick show of hands. How many people in chat? How many people in the comments buy art? How many of you have gone to art galleries to buy art? Huh? Like, no, I'm willing to bet none of you.
Support or
pretend you like decry the pretentiousness of critics and artists making for making shit, and then this is one of the most pretentious fucking things I've ever heard.
Organizations like the Art Renewal Center that work to restore objective...
Make your opinions known and felt. I would like to talk to the manager, please. Your art is trash. I don't like it. God, can you imagine fucking doing that? Going to an art gallery and just complaining about each individual piece of art you don't like?
...standards to the art world. And we can advocate the teaching of classical art appreciation in our schools.
Oh my God. Imagine fucking writing that out.
Let's celebrate what we know is good and ignore what we know is not. By the way, the white background you see behind me is not simply a white graphic backdrop.
It
is a pure white painting by noted artist Robert Rauschenberg at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. I'm Robert Florczak for Prager University.
And? Is there a point to that? There was indeed not a point to it. Thank you to last month's patron backers. ASU Asian Woman, Benjamin Kessler, Boris Lowe, Ian Diaby, Here Comes the Rat, James Paul, Jari Palama, Jenna Sweet, Lionel, and Mellow Cheddar.